Hello, Broadway fans. If you are looking for a show with heart, you don't have to look any further than the show The Prom. It's a new musical where a cast of crazy Broadway veterans come to help out a girl who is not allowed to take her girlfriend to the prom. I'm Sam Eckmann, and joining me is the lead, Caitlin Kinnunen. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You have been in this show, involved with this show for quite a long time in its road to Broadway. So, how did you first get involved with the project?
I first got involved with the project about 4.5 years ago when I went and auditioned for the first 29-hour reading of the show. I actually originally auditioned for the role of Alyssa, which is the girlfriend in the show now. And at that point, it was written as like a very typical like blonde cheerleader. And I went in for it and I was like, well, this is not right. I am not this character at all. And so I was auditioning in front of the whole creative team, and Casey Nicola, the director, very quickly saw that I was not right for the role of Alyssa, but he was like, hey, you're actually really right for the role of Emma. Would you mind going out in the hall and looking over these scenes and coming back and reading for Emma? And I was like, totally. So I did that. And then the next day I got a call saying that I had booked the role. And so we then did a 29-hour reading, which is you take like 3 days and you read the show at music stands, you learn the music, and then you present it for like producers and people who want to be involved in the show. And so we did that, and then we did a lab, which is like a longer process like that. And then we did an out-of-town tryout in Atlanta, and then we did another lab, and now we're finally on Broadway. And so it's been a 4.5 year journey, and it's amazing.
And it's a great character to the center of that journey. Emma has so much in her emotional life going on. She has a great character arc. What first spoke to you about her when you read the script?
Her realness. She is a real person, and she's vulnerable and strong and independent and scared, and she's just got all of these emotions. And I feel like the writers did such a beautiful job of portraying her honestly, and that doesn't always happen with teenage roles. I feel like it's very easy for like adult writers to portray teenagers in a very stereotypical fashion, and with Emma they did such a good job of creating a real human being, and that really drew me to her because I love getting to play her on stage every night. I love her vulnerability and her strength, and I'm honored to be able to play this character, and I love her.
And it's not the first time you've gotten to bring a new musical to life.
Right.
You've also done Bridges of Madison County, which made it
Mm-hmm.
to Broadway.
Right.
So, what is your favorite part of that process of working on a new piece?
I love how collaborative it is. I think working on new musicals is such an amazing experience that I hope everyone who is like an actor can experience at some point, because it's such an interesting process, and you get to create this world with everyone else. You get to have input, you get to have a voice behind the project, and that is so unique and special, and that doesn't happen all the time. So working on new works is so much fun because you actually get to help create it.
Mm-hmm. And with your other roles you've done, on Broadway, you have Spring Awakening, Bridges. This is your first lead on Broadway, and you carry a whole lot of the show
Yes.
on your shoulders. So, what is that shift like for you?
Oh gosh, it's really hard. It's been an interesting learning experience. I'm on stage for probably like 80% of the show, and the other 20% is off stage, like changing costumes or like finding time to go pee and drink water. And it's really hard, and it's all about finding the like work-life balance and resting. And it's I don't lead an exciting life because Emma takes up a lot of it, and I have to be able to play her 8 times a week, so gotta be careful.
Well, helping you out with that task is a whole cast of Broadway vets with
Yeah.
Christopher Sieber and Brooks and Beth Level. And they are all playing really hammy, vain Broadway stars. They get to go over the top and chew the scenery. What is it like for you to act opposite them? Because your character is much more reserved.
It's so difficult. They are all so incredible and so hilarious. Like, they are hilarious in life, but they are even funnier on stage. And being on stage with them and having to play this like composed character while they just like go off the rails and are funny and make each other break, like being on stage with them is so difficult to like keep a straight face. I've learned so much about comedy and power and just like not having fear on stage from them, and it's been so cool. But like, man, being on stage with Brooks Ashmanskas and having to keep a straight face while he does his thing is the hardest thing I've ever done. So
is there the pressure then to like to rise to that, and you have to remind yourself to stay at a certain level?
Emma is written in such a way that like there really isn't that urge. She's so like sure of herself and her like calmness that it really like there's never a part of me that wants to like outwit them. It just is like, no, I'm gonna be here waiting for you to finish your funny, and then we're gonna keep going.
I think some of that kind of stillness, and you know, it's kind of a beautifully simple performance, because she is so reserved, and we see her sort of come out of her shell.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is present in your song "Dance with You,"
yes.
which has become this great love song that really resonates. What is it like performing that number?
Oh gosh, it's like a combination of so many things. It's definitely the hardest number for me in the show, and it comes very early on in the show. So like I'm like at a 10 right off the gate. Like it's so it's just like every night I'm like, please God, let these notes come out. But it's such a beautifully simplistic and straightforward love song, and I think that really carries through the entire show because she's so driven to what she wants. She just is like, no, I just want to go to the prom with you. That's all this is. And so she states that right off the bat in this beautiful, beautiful song. And so getting to sing it every night is like both so joyous and fun, and then like equally terrifying every single night.
There's a lot of, you know, you show off your voice very well in that song. What type of sort of preservation work do you have to do on your end to sing that way?
It's a lot of, I think like preservation is a very good way of saying it, that it's a lot of just being prepared and saving up for that. And so like I have a warm-up routine that I do every day before the show that's about like 20 minutes to get myself vocally warm, and then there's a lot of like stretching I do backstage right before the number. I've got like a little like 2-minute break when I exit the stage and then come back on, and I've got like a little like tongue stretching like work it out routine that I do backstage with Angie Schwar. And I go to voice lessons once a month, and it's all about like drinking enough water and staying healthy and just getting those notes out. So it's a lot of preservation.
Yeah. And the story of this show, I think, has really resonated with the LGBT community. Obviously, it's unfortunately a story we still see in the news where people aren't allowed to go to prom, and that discrimination is still present in many areas. Is that something that you get a lot of audience feedback from after the show?
So much. It's been truly overwhelming, the responses that we get. I get a lot of messages on Instagram and a lot of fan mail from these teenagers and young adults expressing how they relate to Emma and Alyssa, and saying that they weren't allowed to go to their prom. They aren't accepted by their families or their friends. And it's devastating. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's devastating, but also so wonderful that this show is out in the world now and that they feel seen and heard. And these kids write into us and they just say that. They say, thank you for doing this and giving us a voice. And there's nothing like that. But yeah, it's devastating that this does still happen. Like just last month, there was an article about someone wanting to go to their prom and they can't. Mm-hmm. And it's awful. That still happens, you know, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of shows this Broadway season about giving a voice to those who don't have it, I think. Is that something that you consciously look for when you're going into work? Is the message behind the piece?
I really want to be a part of shows that make a difference and have an impact, whether that's new works or old works or what have you. I think it's important to be working on pieces that say something, you know, and we have the power to do that, and we have the power to say yes to things like that. And so keep saying yes. We need more shows like this out in the world. So, yeah.
One of the ways you definitely made an impact in that way. At the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade, you did a performance from the prom with the whole cast, and it was the first time that a lesbian kiss had ever been featured on that broadcast. What was it like being, seeing the after effects of that and witnessing all the reactions on
It was crazy. We went into it just like this is what we do in our show. We do this every night, and it's amazing and fun and powerful. And so getting to do it on the parade just amplified all of those feelings. And so we were all really excited. And then after it aired, we got a lot of hate and we got a lot of backlash. But what was so amazing is that for all of the hate and backlash we got 10 times the amount of love and support and just acceptance coming our way. And that is what our show is about. It's about love. It's about acceptance. It's about tolerance. And so to get all of that coming towards us was truly overwhelming and special and just magical.
I have to say, one of my favorite aspects of this show when I watched it was seeing the relationship you have with Brooks, with Emin Berry, because it's kind of these two different generations of queer people, and they both get to learn from each other in a way. They both have very different experiences, and it's really beautiful, the sharing that goes on unexpectedly between them, which I think happens in real life too. I'm just curious what it's like working with him on those scenes and what kind of conversations you guys had about that.
It's been amazing. Brooks is one of the most talented actors I've ever had the pleasure of working with. He brings so much depth and clarity and honesty and hilarity to the role of Barry. And I don't know, we've both been working on the show for forever now, and so we've been able to like really build the relationship between the two of them for 4.5 years now. And that, I think, is what you're seeing on stage, is that we just have a connection in real life, and that is brought on stage. And it just, I don't know, there's something about the two of us that we just like connect on a level that's kind of unspoken, and you get to see that on stage, and it's really cool and it's really different. And I've never like had that experience with another actor before.
Do you think getting to work opposite people like that is like a classroom experience for you? What kind of things do you learn from them?
100%. I think working with these actors and truly everyone in the cast every day is a masterclass. They are the most focused and hardworking group of people I've ever worked with. And I think that shows. I think it like just goes out into the audience and you see it, and like being on stage with that energy, you can't escape it, and you just get to like soak it up and learn from it every day. And it's so special and wonderful. And I would not change any of this experience for the world because of that.
Yeah. What do you think is the most kind of surprising thing that you've taken away from the process?
I think I've learned a lot about my own power and my own strength. I think Emma and the actors I've worked with have taught me a lot about finding courage within yourself, as like cheesy as that sounds, but like I've become so much more self-confident after portraying Emma. And she's built my self-confidence extremely.
Well, before I let you go, this show really again resonates with a lot of people in the community. And what kind of conversations do you hope that it sparks? What is the ripple effect that you hope this show?
I hope it just opens conversations. I hope that people can come and see the show and talk about things when they leave it, no matter what that is, whether it's acceptance, tolerance, love, understanding. I just want people to talk to each other and actually listen to each other. I think that's key. People don't listen very often. And so I think I just want people to be able to listen to each other and have open and honest conversations with each other about life after seeing the show.
Yeah. Well, I hope that happens. And I think it's definitely accomplishing that goal. So thank you so much. Best of luck with the rest of your time in the prom. And everyone, click that subscribe button and stay tuned to Gold Derby for all of our Broadway updates. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
Of course. Thank you.